Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Game Junk Podcast, episode 187, recording on Sunday, April 7th, 2024. My name is Frank.
My name is Sean.
And my name is Andrew.
And yet another lull in the video game news department. We had many discussions about what we could talk about, maybe a top 5 list, maybe a tier ranking. Not a lot of traction on any of those. It was a lot of humming and hawing, and we settled on what the world wants to hear, our reactions to the Stellar Blade demo.
Huge.
Now on PlayStation 5. Released earlier this week. It's the next big game. So we figured we'd try it out, play it, and report back whether Stellar Blade is a must-buy or an absolute turd. So thanks for joining us. Anything else going on, gentlemen?
The eclipse, man. Everyone's talking about the eclipse.
Getting ready for the eclipse. I'm debating. So Niagara Falls is a hot spot for the eclipse.
The path of totality.
The path of totality. It is a state of emergency warning in this area where we live. We are in one of the hottest spots for the eclipse. And I was saying before the show, you know what? I might just go to Costco in Niagara Falls during the eclipse. I'm not scared. Maybe it'll be the least busy time for Costco ever. I don't care either way. I'm going to Costco during the eclipse.
Good idea.
I mean, a true hero would game during the eclipse. That's what you want to be doing.
No, I'm going into the heart of darkness. I'm going into the path of totality apex during the eclipse.
Yeah, but you want to prove that you just don't even care about the eclipse. That's what you really want to.
I don't think so. It's like my grandma doesn't care, so that's not that cool.
Okay.
Like barely aware of it. It's like, oh, whatever. I'm just gonna stay inside. So that's the same thing. To go into the heart of the eclipse and not view it. Sean. That's a more hero move by far than to play video games.
I guess.
I mean, PlayStation or Steam Deck or a PlayStation Portal to the big eclipse gathering.
Now you're talking.
And then look down
maybe I'll dig out my Boktai Game Boy Advance. Game Boy Advance? Was that what it was on? That game that uses sunshine as a mechanic? That's a hero move.
How many times? Maybe it's programmed into the game. The Boktai Eclipse Easter egg.
Maybe.
You never know. Could be.
I mean, we're talking before the show. Zoom somehow knows how to filter out burps and farts, which we've discovered for obvious reasons.
Somehow.
And so maybe Boktai was aware of how to exactly perceive the light of a total eclipse of the sun and do something. So you're going to have to find out, Sean.
Yeah.
You better find it.
All right. On to important business. The Stellar Blade demo. This game comes out Friday, April 26th, 2024. Next big release from PlayStation Studios. What did you guys think of the Stellar Eclipse? No, Stellar Blade.
Oh boy, this guy really has the eclipse on the mind.
I'm fired up now.
Well, why don't you go, Huck?
Okay. I did not beat the demo, but I got to a spot where there's like a big guy with a circular spike hand thing that killed me a bunch of times. I said, that's good enough. I've gotten. Was
that on like a rooftop building? Was it a boss kind of thing? Was there a cinematic?
It was it was not on a rooftop building. It was in a street. It was like in the second area. I don't know how far in the demo was, maybe halfway or something like that. But I actually thought the combat was pretty fun. And I don't know why a game like this would choose to be a Souls-like, though. Or at least this demo. Because it's very linear. So
I'm going to have to challenge.
Okay, challenge.
From my perspective, it is not a Souls-like.
Okay, but they have the thing where if you go to a camp to redo your health, the enemies come back.
Correct. So it's borrowing some design ideas, but the difference is there's no economy that you lose when you die. unless I miss something or that gets introduced in the full version of the game. You don't lose all your experience and use that to level up. No matter what, as long as you're successful in combat, you advance that. So it's.
And I would actually say you regain stuff because you regain your health potions and everything like that.
Exactly. So it's unless I missed something like that, or it's just they got rid of it for the demo. I'm not sure.
So what would we call that mechanic? I don't know. I would think that's part of the Souls-like thing, but maybe it's not. Maybe it's something else.
It's got Souls-like elements for sure. I just think it's not pure Souls-like.
I mean, in Metroid, if you leave a room and come back, the enemies respawn.
Yeah, but it's more than that. Like it's got the parry thing. It's got the kind of I think it has like a momentum thing where it's like enemies can be knocked off balance or something.
A stagger meter type of thing or balance.
Yeah.
But it's called something different. Look, I'm not saying there's no similarities to Souls-like games or things that were invented by Souls-like games, including pressing up to do health and all that kind of stuff. But I think the technical definition of a Souls-like is some leveling up resource or economy that you can lose permanently and you use that to level up. Just
okay.
But but it is a lot like one, and 100%, because even Fallen Order and Survivor are light Souls-likes, but they still have like your XP stays with the enemy that killed you.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's call it a third-person action game.
Souls adjacent. Where
enemies come back if you heal yourself.
Souls adjacent. Souls adjacent.
Souls adjacent. Sure. But I thought the combat was pretty fun. I thought the parry system seemed to work pretty well, though if I missed that window, some of these enemies would smack me real good. And the perfect timing dodge, perfect timing parry were fun. The kind of like bonus moves you get from, I think it's just from attacking, right? It's not just from dodging or parrying. I think you get it from just attacking. And then you get like those bonus you hold the L1 block button and then you can do those bonus moves.
Yeah.
You guys know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Beta attack or whatever.
Yeah, beta attack or something. I thought that was pretty fun. Adds a little extra kind of like combo type, almost like a magic attack sort of idea to it. And
I don't remember those types of things. If there was, I don't think there's an equivalent in Sekiro, but that is definitely in Neo, which like when you hold block, certain things activate. So I mean, okay. I'll get into it. It's borrowing from a lot of games for an interesting mix.
Yeah. And then, I mean, obviously the like female characters with the skin tight uniforms and the super boob physics, obviously attractive to males who are attracted to females in that regard. But they also seem to borrow a very similar vibe to Nier Automata.
Oh, yeah. I would call this Sekiro Automata.
Yeah.
It's that world and idea and kind of the weirdness of even the gameplay sometimes, like how you interact with things. The camps are very similar to that. It's basically fusing those two games together with a sprinkling of Bayonetta with the perfect dodge and slowing down time. So definitely some obvious inspirations, but I think the mix is worth playing or is interesting enough to warrant mixing those things together.
Juice is worth the squeeze.
I think so.
Yeah, I mean, I liked it more than I thought I was going to. Obviously, with the Souls-like elements right away, I was like, yeah, probably not for me, but I'll give it a shot. And I do like the world. Nier Automata, I haven't played it, but I've read a lot of stuff about how that was a huge inspiration for them. And I mean, as you guys have said, I guess I really need to play that game one of these days. But yeah, I mean, I think I did like the combat. It is kind of weird, the mix where the Souls-like stuff kind of comes in, because some of the attacks, like it feels like it wants to be a really fast-paced action game, but then with the Souls-like stuff, there's stuff that's like slowing that down, where it's like, okay, I got to wait and like parry properly for some of these enemies, and like, you can't just button mash. And so like, it feels like it's kind of working against what the game's trying to be to some degree, but I still kind of was enjoying it. And I guess there was a little bit of exploration, like you can kind of go into some corners and side alleys and stuff, and there's things there, and there's a bit of traversal stuff with the like swinging from bars and climbing walls. It was okay. It wasn't amazing, but like, I don't know. There was enough there that I was like, I could see myself playing this game. Whether I'm going to buy it day one, probably not, but we'll see.
I mean, one huge difference between this and any Souls-like that I'm aware of is an easy difficulty mode. So you can play on story or kind of the normal, which the other Souls-like games usually let you go up difficulties on repeated playthroughs or activate a bell or something in the game that ups the difficulty. None of them will let you go down a difficulty, except for
that could be just this demo. I mean, it might still have story, but it may not just have one difficulty level when the game comes out.
Yeah, I think I read that if you beat the demo, that you can replay the boss at a higher difficulty level or something like that.
I mean, I could see you having higher difficulties, but I think there will be a lower difficulty when the game ships, which is rare for a game like this. Because if someone bought it based on that difficulty and then I can't even play what made it fun, I think people would snap, or a large portion of people would snap. And I feel like Sony was thinking, let's expand the limited audience of difficult Souls-likes as much as we can. Why limit our audience and cashola? So I wouldn't be surprised if that was pushed by them. I don't care either way. I kind of agree with both of you. It was a tale of two plays for me. I played it once this afternoon. I was like, it's kind of awkward. Wasn't loving it. And then I replayed it again before we were going to talk about it. I wanted some stuff fresh in my mind, and I liked it a lot more on a second playthrough. So things were starting to click for me. There is like just some slow, like opening doors and entering the code. I think the bars that you swing on are kind of annoying, to be honest. I thought they were just loading bars. I think it's like maybe an in joke that those bars you swing on are just, they're loading the next area, and it's the equivalent of squeezing through a cave or rock wall in God.
Could be.
Which I'm not sure how I feel about it. I think if I had to choose between the two, I think I'd pick squeezing through the rock wall, because I can just press up. I'm not like, I can't fail it. And this one, I fell on one. I'm like, you actually have to build momentum. So that kind of makes me think it might not be a loading volume, but that was my one thought of like justifying these things. But other than that, the very intro on the beach, there's a bunch of things fall and a ship explodes and it killed me. And I'm like, I don't even know what I'm supposed to do in this scenario. It was like a chase sequence towards the end, and I was dying. I'm like, it felt completely random. Like I didn't have my camera turned the right way and something killed me. So that was kind of strange.
It did have very subtle red circles on the ground.
Oh yeah,
there was a radius, but I think even the radius was a little bigger than what the visual showed. At least
it was very subtle though, because it's like kind of brownish, reddish sand with then a reddish, orangish circle on top of it.
But I think another issue is I'm going up a hill in that section, and so my camera, like I was looking up to see what was coming, not necessarily at the ground, which was a little weird. But yeah. It's also was very strange to me when you land on the ground at the end, like to start the whole demo, there's like a quick time thing with R2 to open the door, and you can't do it successfully. You like every time you do it, it's a fail. And
yeah, it's a weird cold open kind of idea.
It seems like a weird way to introduce a mechanic. I know you do it successfully right after then, but I don't know. It seems like a bad decision to me. Very, very tiny nitpick, but I was caught off guard. As for the character of Eve, the main character of Stellar Blade, I think there's been some mild discourse about the look of the character. I love the small touches on this character. When you get like up close, there's like a green collar that like glows, that looks awesome, like a choker kind of thing. I love the look of that. The necktie I thought was an interesting costuming. I love the costume. I think it's a really cool costume. And then the like almost vinyl wings, cape. It's like cape wings. I think it's really cool character design. I am down. And the suit is let's just face it. The suit is basically made out of the balloons in Spider-Man 2. It's the green surface. So I'm in. Can we make a suit? Like they probably had a different design entirely. They played Marvel Spider-Man 2. They were being published by Sony. Can we borrow the material for the balloons in that game and just make our whole character dressed in it?
Well, I should point out that in the demo there is an alternate suit you can switch to that seems to be there by default, which is a skin suit.
Oh, I didn't.
Which is basically naked, just without any nipples. So it's
emerges from the pod at one point, or
at the beginning, it's kind of silvery.
I don't totally remember that, maybe, but
Sean was deep for those perv options.
I was looking hard, but yeah, no, I mean, I don't know. Bayonetta is the same. Like, I think there's debates on both sides. You could say, yeah, it's sexist. You could say it's empowering women. I don't know. I mean, I just think that's the Japanese style, it seems to be, and they get away with it. So, but yeah, I mean,
it really doesn't affect me. I've probably, I don't know if I've said this with like any game. If a game is good, I do not care what the character looks like. You could take this exact same game and make Sean the star, and I would still like it exactly the same amount. That's not a disparaging remark about Sean. It's just kind of average guy. It has nothing to do, like, I like the art of the character, but like who the character is or how sexually appealing they are means absolutely nothing to me.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I overall, the visuals of the game I thought looked pretty amazing. Like, it was, I don't know, the world and the design of everything. The creatures seem to be a little more like on the Soulsy side, where they're kind of demonic and kind of pretty creepy looking, but the world is like a science fiction world. And I don't know, it was an interesting mix, I thought.
Yeah, I thought it looked really good. The menus and the characters in the main menu and the pause menu I thought those models looked excellent, very high fidelity. And I agree, the enemy designs are impressive. I like them. I hope there's a little more variety in terms of just these kind of mutant creature things. Although, to be fair, there's that kind of octopus looking one. It's not as bad as it could be either. Like, obviously the budget of this, the closest recent thing I can compare it to, I guess, is Lies of P and Lords of the Fallen, which it's definitely up in terms of variety from those games. Like, the beginning of Lies of P was a lot of the same looking enemies. So even the small enemies look pretty different from each other. So it's pretty solid. I made it to the boss, beat it. My second playthrough, I did not die. I'm a hero. I am a hero. And like, in terms of what it's ripping stuff off from, finally, I was like, I don't know how this combat's going to evolve. It's good. A little, like, I've played this before, I felt like. Not in a terrible way, but I'm playing Rise of the Ronin. It's basically the same kind of combat thing. And I'm constantly thinking to myself, how much capacity do I have to play more games like this? It feels like every game is kind of this type of thing. And I know I love third-person action games, but even I'm getting a little burnt out. So,
well, and again, the Souls-like thing, like, every game is having some of those elements. Like, I guess if you like those games, it's great, but if you don't, it's getting frustrating.
Yeah, and I guess they finally, towards the end, anything attack that I had to dodge, it was a struggle for me. I was like, I don't know the timing for the dodge.
Yeah, the dodge was a little weird, which, again, that's for me. Like, if I have a choice, parry or dodge, I'm dodging every time. And the dodge just didn't have as much distance as I thought it was going to have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But obviously, I would always prefer to parry, but there are attacks you cannot parry. And for those attacks, if there's a blue flash, you basically can do a Mikiri counter from Sekiro. They took that mechanic, as they should. It's the best mechanic in video games in the last 20 years. And it, like, puts you around to the back of the other character or the enemy you're fighting, and you can attack from there. So not as satisfying as stepping on a spear, but it's still, I'm glad it's there, because I was getting pretty frustrated with the dodge stuff. And that reminded me of one other point about Sekiro. No, I can't remember. Because even Sekiro was basically more of an action Souls-like, where it wasn't about like it's not an RPG. You can't level up, dexterity. It was just like your character generally levels up and unlocks new weapons. But it was based on, I can't remember what they were called, the equivalent of Souls in that game. But this one is just like an action game. Like you unlock things based on skill points and XP, and it's like a little more linear path. I guess what remains to be seen after the demo is there's no map so far. I'm getting a little confused as to where I am. And
there is like a scanner thing, which kind of 360 scan around you, but
I like the scanner, but there was like doors I couldn't access, and I hated entering the passcode. Oh, that was so annoying to have to go and look in my menu and memorize 6 characters.
Didn't you? Why don't you just use the hint?
Oh, I don't use hint.
It just shows it to you.
Well, it's called hint, but it was just showing you the code you just had. Like, I don't know why that's bad.
Well, I didn't know what the hint was going to be. Maybe it would ruin it. You do not accept hints ever in a video game unless it's
I know.
a trophy or an achievement. That is the only, if you have to use it to get a trophy, that's the only acceptable time to use a hint.
I agree. It took me a second where I was like, what does this mean? But what else could it be other than show you the code that you already had?
You're not a real gamer if you use that kind of hint to get a trophy. You got to earn that.
Well, no, earn it. Just correction. You are a real gamer if you use that hint to get a trophy. You're not.
No, disagree.
You use that hint to advance through the game. Unless you check a trophy guide first to see if there's a trophy for getting a hint, never click the hint button. Not allowed.
Yeah.
Let us know what you think in the comments. YouTube.com/Game Junk. Hints.
Do you use hints?
For complete losers? Non-gamers? Non-hardcore gamers?
On your nitpicks there list, I must say I'm going to add having to hold down the R2 button to like pick up everything. For like the first half, I definitely missed everything that was on the ground because I didn't know that was a thing until they tell you kind of late when you open your first treasure chest. They're like, make sure you hold down R2 to pick up everything. I was like, okay, I definitely have zero money when I get to this first camp, and definitely did not pick up any money on my way through.
So on Rise of the Ronin, it's R1. I just like a press more than a trigger, and it's like a lot easier to pick stuff up. I don't feel like it's as smooth but I'm pretty sure Ghost of Tsushima was a right trigger to pick things up. So
yeah, I think so. I don't know. Did they eventually
I was pressing right R2 all the time to pick things up, and then it switched to just hold it down to pick up everything around you. That felt much better. So they like eased me into the actual version.
Yeah, I don't know.
Annoying version first.
Like, to be honest, I don't know why this is a mechanic in games. Like, why do I need to hold down a button to pick things up? I obviously want to pick them up. It's not like I'm picking up a bomb that will hurt me. I want everything you drop.
I guess it depends. I was thinking about like the Horizon games because I think they have an option to auto pick up, or maybe that was Ghost of Tsushima. I don't remember, but with Horizon, a lot of it's resource gathering, so it's not necessarily like a pickup that somebody dropped. It's like branches or plants or whatever. So should you auto pick those up, or is it more of a strategy of like which ones do you want to pick up?
That really matters mostly for games with encumbrance. And
yeah.
To kind of split the difference with you two guys, I didn't hate the R2 pickup, but when I open a chest, give me the stuff in the chest. I don't want it to fall out of the chest and pick it up. Like, we can all agree on that.
I dropped it.
I opened this chest by choice. So how about you give me the things I chose to open?
Yeah.
I don't care about stuff scattered in the world. The only acceptable reason to have like I guess there's more than one, but my thought is with pickup systems, you set that up. So the one game that turned this on its head a bit was Forspoken, where you got a power that would cast out and pick up everything for you in like a radius, so that when you do it, it's like feels amazing. You get all these resources coming back to you. So maybe there'll be a skill tree option for like
other games have done that too. I can't think of them off the top of my head, but other games do give you perks to like increase your pickup range. What didn't Prince of Persia have one just
I think
recently?
so, yeah. Sounds right.
And I think
That's the thing. Nah, that's like if things get magnetized and drawn to you. Like,
yeah, isn't that what you're talking about?
no. Like in Forspoken, you hit a button and it casts out this huge net, like way further than like, and it like goes out and like comes back in, and you get all this stuff. It feels amazing when you do it, and it's like, it's like I don't have to pick up all this stuff. It's so good.
Yeah, I guess it's a little different because you're actually actively choosing to do it.
Yeah, and you can't do it constantly. You have to build it up and
and I mean, what about your favorite game of all time, Vampire Survivors, with you hit that button and then it brings everything to you. I can't remember what the item was.
That's the attract orbs, and
the attract orbs. Yeah, there
they
you go.
feel amazing when you get them. There's no attract orbs. So they know what's up. But I mean, in that game, you don't have to actively pick up anything other than go over it. It's anyway. Combat solid. I thought. Oh, the last thing I have. The animations for special moves like retribution and other like powerful attacks with cinematic cameras. I feel like the peak version of that is probably God of War and Spider-Man at times, like just having a camera that's framing a finishing move that's not too long and not too annoying. And like the old God of War has gotten to the territory of like a quick time event that you didn't even want to do it anymore, but they've gotten better at accelerating that process. So it's always kind of a reward to see it. I thought the animations, like custom animations, or what's a good word for term for that? Like showcase animations, look and camera looked really good. I thought those were excellent.
Yeah. I am interested to see if the game will become more open world, because I feel like if it's just linear corridors, I don't understand the camping, respawning enemy things. That you got to have a reason to be backtracking. Like if it's going to turn into some sort of like Metroid-like or open world, why would you have that mechanic? So there must be something later on where you have to backtrack or something. And that's my only question mark going into it. Have you guys seen any previews on this game as to the full thing, or is it just on the demo?
Oh, well, that was one thing I liked about the demo. When you beat, like the second you land the last attack on the boss, it's like this flash cut to a video of like all the crazy stuff that can happen in the game. And it's really interesting because you've just played with a limited skill set, and it shows you how the game, like all the cool stuff you're going to be able to do, including ending on the boss you just fought with a full power set and how it's different. So I thought that was a really cool idea.
That's not bad.
I'm seeing here
Good
that
tease.
it's a semi-open world game.
Okay.
So, some open-ended areas that may or may not be connected, it says.
I mean, semi-open world. That could be any game you can backtrack in. The original Mario Brothers is semi-open world.
Yeah.
Is it? Can you go back? Yeah, you can in Mario. Yeah. No, you can't.
Not Mario
First
1.
Mario Brothers.
Mario.
Mario 3 is semi-open world. All right. Well, we'll see what happens there. I just want to know if there's a map. No map might be a problem.
Yeah, I agree.
And then there's a part where you go down this corridor and you get to the end of the hallway and it's like, oh, it's a map. What are these things? And I don't know if that's like a joke, like, fuck you, you're not getting a map in this game, or you actually do get the map in the game there. It was a weird moment. I'm like, so am I getting a map or not? That's all I want to know. I don't care about your witty dialogue about like, oh, how do you digitally interface or something with a map? I just want to know if there's a map. Okay. Any other thoughts, guys?
No.
We have to say buy or complete turd.
Well,
I'll say
that's not,
definitely buy or complete turd.
Definitely not a complete turd, I would say.
yeah,
the
not a
opposite.
Buy
complete
it
turd.
then. You got to buy it right now.
Buy it then. Buy it then right
No,
now.
that doesn't mean get it from the library. You have to go on PSN right.
This is out of all the bigger
It's not for
kind of
sale yet.
AAA games that have come out so far, this is the one that I'm the closest to pulling the trigger on. So
It's definitely for sale. You can buy it. The whole point is to pre-order it after the demo. So you
I
have.
don't pre-order.
So you're
I
saying
don't
complete
pre-order.
turd. You're not.
Sure.
not buying.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
All right.
Just to be clear.
I just want to make sure that you're definitively weighing in that Stellar Blade is a complete turd. You know what? I'm going to pre-order the deluxe edition right now.
Whoa, ho, 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 ho.
And I'm doing it through the website, so not through the app. No one got back to me if Apple makes money on that, but
there you go. Good call. All to Sony. 100% Sony.
Now, do we know the developer is called Shift Up? I think I read this is their first game. Do we know if they are, employees from other companies or anything like that? Like, I haven't really seen anything. So
I don't know.
They're in Seoul, South Korea.
Yeah. Founded by Blade and Soul illustrator Kim Hyung Tae.
And what's going on with Korea in general? Like, isn't that where the Honkai Star Rail Genshin Impact people are as well? And that DokeV game, aren't all those coming out of Korea? And isn't
so?
What's the other big publisher? Nexon, aren't they out of Korea?
Genshin Impact might be China. I don't know. Let me just see here, because MiHoYo is a Chinese company, so that's where Genshin Impact, Honkai Star Rail, and Zenless Zone Zero are all from.
Okay, maybe I'm thinking of that DokeV. I think it was called DokeV game.
Yeah, I think that was Korean, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it's interesting. Some money getting thrown around in Korea.
Oh yeah.
I wonder if it's a salary thing, compared to the US. Like, I wonder if that's why these studios
I think there's probably just really talented game developers there. I don't know,
but these are pretty high-end games. These aren't indie studios. Like, these are AAA games that have no experience. Like, you're talking about funding a unknown AAA studio. That's a pretty big leap.
My guess is that I don't know much about the studio, but when these studios pop up, it seems to be like people who worked on other games and left it. Like, okay, maybe. I don't know, like, specifically anyone who works at the studio, but I see what you're saying though. Like, I'm trying to think of an equivalent. Like, there aren't a lot of things I can think of.
No, like even like the Jade Raymond studios. Like, you're investing in that studio because it's Jade Raymond. You're not like picking up, Sean Dwyer's new studio and giving them $50 million to make the next big AAA game. It's completely different.
Should, but
I know. Well,
the point.
I'm not saying they shouldn't. I'm just saying no one is.
Yeah, the director of the game, their other games they worked on were like this War of Genesis, going back to like 1995. And they're mostly mobile games lately. So yeah, I'm not sure, but they're listed on Wikipedia as the director of the game. Oh wait, no, it isn't. What? No. Why? When I click on the director's name,
it goes to the company.
Oh, okay. Weird.
Don't trust Wikipedia.
You click on redirected and you go back. There's no entry.
Looks like there's like a series of RPGs called Magna Carta, the Magna Carta series that they worked on. Maybe I don't totally understand.
Not a lot of entries here to get any information.
Either way, my point is just they seem like not a giant AAA studio, or that the people are well known in the AAA space. So it's not like they have a giant credit that you're like from the creators of blah blah blah.
Yeah, the closest thing I can think of is Helldivers 2, but there was a blueprint from Helldivers 1 but I guess Sony published that too. So
Helldivers 1 was definitely a smaller
risk. Oh yeah. Way lower budget for sure. So it's interesting. Maybe someone's got to know. Someone in the comments will know. There's got to be people on this team that have worked on other games, because there's too much skill like in time, like timing, polish. It's pretty impressive. Because a lot of like double A Souls like and action games I've played, they're good, but there's a big difference, and this is way closer to triple A.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get into what we played.
Okay, let's do that.
Go ahead, Sean.
Okay, well, I'll start with a game that been hearing some great things about Hellblade 2. All of a sudden, there's like these previews online. People are saying it's going to be amazing. But I had never played the first Hellblade, so I fired it up. I thought, you know what, got to check this out. And did you both of you guys play the first Hellblade?
Yes.
Yep. And so, yeah, my first impression, I was like, is this game like a walking simulator? Like, what is the deal? Because like the character is just moving very slowly. There's a lot of like narration and like sound design stuff, and visually it looks pretty good. But it's just like movement is so slow and nothing's happening. So it took a little while to actually get to the combat. By the time you get to the combat, it's actually not bad. Like I didn't mind it. But I do still find, I mean, I've played a couple hours probably now, and it does still feel very slow. Like, aside from the combat, the moving around, the sort of like I don't know if there's more to the game than the kind of finding symbols in the environments. I don't know how long ago you guys played it, if you remember, but it seems like that's
a long time ago.
That's the main mechanic when you're not in combat, is you're kind of exploring and trying to unlock doors by finding these symbols. And
did you get to anything where it's like you have to look through something from a certain perspective?
Yeah.
And I found it pretty, like that was like a good idea.
Yeah. But it was confusing. They didn't really communicate it that well. So I was like, took me a while before I realized which things were changing and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, generally I'm liking it. I just, I guess it's one of those games that seemed like it was pretty highly praised at the time. Maybe it's just, a few years later, I'm looking at it going, I don't know. It wasn't exactly what I expected it to be anyway. So,
no, your assessment is correct. That was the proper assessment when it came out. It's good. And I really liked, I guess I probably liked it more than you for the first couple hours. Why can't I think of the developer's name right now?
I don't
Ninja Theory?
Ninja Theory, yes. And I liked a lot of their old games, even Heavenly Sword. I wish they'd remake at some point. And I liked the combat. It just gets pretty repetitive. And it's to be expected. They don't have a huge budget. So it just, by the end of that game, there's some light and dark mechanics that I found pretty annoying, and I was ready for it to be over.
Yeah.
I like the game.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it's good. I'm probably going to, keep going with it. And again, it's like another Norse mythology game. There's just a lot of those, but it's, from what I understand, it's pretty short anyway. So I'll try and get through it. And yeah, I mean, it does some interesting things. Definitely, again, sound design, some of the effects of like the weird kind of double images and things. I feel like Alan Wake maybe is, borrowing some ideas from it at times, but yeah, it's cool. Just slow, very slow at times.
The game is not changing the way you think about mental illness and all that stuff. Like,
yeah, I don't know about that. I mean, that
was the big, that's why the reviews were higher. And I didn't think the game was that good at that, to be honest.
I mean, it feels like it was an idea for, for the story and for this character. But then they were like, okay, if we're going to do this, we got to make sure we're doing it in a way that's sort of respectful and is, like kind of giving people like the experience, the actual experience. And then so in doing that, somehow now it got this like seal of approval, and it has that message at the beginning that says, we've consulted mental health experts or whatever. So it does feel a little overblown with regards to that, but
I don't think necessarily by the game. I feel like the response at the time was overblown.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's not in the game at all, or it's not like a part of the game. It is, but that I feel like was the reason the game got like I guess, more generously positive reviews than probably what it deserved.
Yeah.
But I still think it's decent. I'm curious to see what the sequel's like because with more time and money, like the studio is super talented. So
Yeah, and that's the thing is it feels playing this, it feels like okay, I it's a little rough around the edges, but I could really see the sequel being amazing. So hopefully it is.
and I guess my other criticism uh, of the new game coming out is anytime we've seen video from it, last time it was just someone staring in a pool. It's more about like the performances than the what you do in the game. And I don't know who they're trying to like convince. Like the game's got to be fun.
Yeah, and that's where like again for me just firing it up, I was like I didn't even really know what the game was, what the moment to moment gameplay was aside from some of that combat. So there isn't that much besides that. But I don't know, maybe they've added some stuff.
Yeah, I hope it's a fun game because I want Ninja Theory to be a big deal again. Only my counterpoint there is Microsoft bought them, so they're probably on the downswing.
Yeah, so you kind of want them to fail because
No,
Microsoft bought
I
them.
definitely don't want them to fail. I just
Okay.
it's
No, they will fail.
that's the one thing that gives me pause is to like it should be better. Will it be better? Tends to I can't think of a game like a studio that's gotten acquired by Microsoft and then made their best game. I could be wrong though, but nothing pops into my head.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
Silence.
Okay.
I
Maybe
mean,
comments, people.
I need to look at a list of studios they've acquired, but yeah, you're probably right on that.
Again, it's possible if you're in the comments on youtube.com/GameJunk, please let us know which studio made their best game after being acquired by
What
Microsoft.
about
like
Double Fine? Psychonauts 2?
Yeah, I was thinking that. I mean, I like Psychonauts 2 a lot, but what about what's the studio that did the Ori games? Would that be? I mean, it's not that they. What's that?
Moon Studios.
I don't think they did anything before that. That was that.
Xbox published Ori. I don't know. I don't think they published, or they published 2, but they don't own Moon Studios. I don't think.
Oh, I thought they did.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Either way, if they bought them after Ori 1, Ori 2 was worse than Ori 1. So my point stands.
Okay.
Proof is in the pudding there.
Okay, no more Xbox hate. People will be snapping. Okay, I played a bunch of like little stuff. None of the big games and some head shaking choices by me. I'd say the game I've played the most since we last talked, it's probably a tie between Helldivers 2. I am back in love with Helldivers 2. Been playing it like 6-7 hours a night.
What?
Friday,
6-7 hours a night. Holy shit.
yeah, the last 2 nights have been marathon sessions. Played today. Got to get that personal order knocked out.
So what level are you at then?
Not that high, like 26.
Oh, okay. You're not that much higher than when we played last.
It takes a while to level up. It's especially when you're playing with people who want to play on medium and easy. But we're moving up. We're up to challenging now. We got the skills.
You guys even dragged me through what, level 3 or level 4? What do you do there? I held my own.
Chin's playing now.
Like
He's
level
really
6.
good. So
now we know that's Chin is bringing in the ringers. There you go.
He's good. He's helping.
Yeah.
And still love it. Love it more than ever. And there's no bugs anymore.
I heard there was a patch that went in recently to change stuff around. Is that correct?
I don't know much about the details of the patches. I know I wasn't getting war bonds for the like major orders.
Oh, I remember what it was. They upgraded the level cap from 50 to 150.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's what I heard.
That. Oh, okay.
That's like a huge jump. And apparently if you hit the level cap, they were still behind the scenes, like accumulating your XP. So when they bumped it, some people are going to be like way up there already.
That's pretty cool.
Crazies.
Yeah. Giving people all that when they think they're done. That's pretty neat. And then the other game I've been playing an ungodly amount of, like an irrational amount of game play. Brotato. I'm into Brotato.
Nice.
On the Xbox?
No, on the PlayStation.
It's on Game Pass.
Yeah, I bought it. I don't have Game Pass anymore. And I was like, played it a couple rounds. I'm like, yeah, this is okay. It just feels like, and I looked up to see if Vampire Survivors was on PlayStation instead, and it's not. What's going on with that? Can we please get that game on PlayStation? And then I'm like, oh, I'll play Brotato some more. Read a few or watched a few videos, read a few posts on Reddit. I'm like, I'm not getting this game. I'm not winning. And then it's more about like, I was being like trying a bunch of different stuff where your builds, you basically get different items and weapons and there's different characters. I think someone said it's actually like an ARPG. It's not a survivor's game. It's about stat choices. And as soon as I heard that, the game kind of clicked for me. And I've just been like focusing on a few stats each run and how it changes, and pretty close to platinuming it. Got a few more trophies left, but I put in a lot of time. And it's just that run of the Survivors games, like Vampire Survivors, Galactic Rocks Survivors, that like I could play them all day. I cannot stop. I have to pull myself away from those games. So yeah, for $6, $7, whatever it is, what a steal. These games rule.
Yeah.
I had a lot of fun with it. Still am having fun with it. Huck, anything for you?
Well, I'm about to beat Final Fantasy VI. That's my big gaming passion right now. I went through and I'm in Kefka's Tower, ready to put the old 37 out of 37 Steve achievements to bed by going through that baby. So I am slowly working my way through all the Pixel Remaster games, though I'm not doing them in order. I'm jumping around. So that's the game I've been playing mostly. I played a little bit more of Case of the Golden Idol DLC, but still super impressed. I was telling you guys beforehand, the music in this game is amazing. It's like perfect for the setting of the game. It's catchy. It's like the music is very almost like dense. Like there's a lot going on, and I'm just really enjoying the music. I kind of just sit there and like listen to the tunes for a while when I'm playing this game. It's really enjoyable.
I never the last DLC pack. So yeah, at some point I'll try to pay closer attention to the music because I don't remember it. I don't remember.
Yeah, so
it. I just
one I've been playing is just the first DLC pack. Was it called House of Sri Lanka or something like that? I can't remember what it's actually called. And then some more Helldivers too. Really not too much. I haven't got back to Rebirth at all, and just haven't. It's been crazy busy at work, so haven't had too much time to game, unfortunately.
Do we have a release date yet for Rise of the Golden Idol?
No. I'd be surprised if it's 2024, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hope it. I doubt it. Sean, next for you.
So I've played a bit of Pepper Grinder.
Oh, shit. I forgot to get that.
Yeah, which is out now. I had played a bit of the demo, and then that kind of convinced me to pick it up. From what I understand, it's a pretty short game. Selling point for me.
With that.
Maybe not for others, but yeah, it's kind of a platformer with, I guess it's a platformer, but like, you know, the idea is that it's a 2D action game and you have a drill. And so you kind of are drilling through the ground and then kind of popping out, and like, you know, it's got a real good flow to it where it's like you're chaining from one section to the other and hitting enemies and collecting gems along the way. And it feels pretty good. And they've got some
very
interesting
Ori too.
Yeah, you know where this is from. It's just the mechanic from Ori 2, the water and sand.
Yeah, I mean, it is similar. But I think when we talked about it, when we had seen a trailer for this, it was actually a concern because those sections in Ori can be frustrating.
I think that's because of how it's implemented in Ori.
Yeah, so I think they've they've nailed it, and it just, I don't know, it feels very smooth, and there's other uses of the drill as well. So I've seen some reviews saying that they kind of introduced a lot of cool little mechanics along the way, and even just the first few levels, like the level design. There's this one level where you're kind of hitting these gates that like swing around and open different sections, and it's a little hard to explain, but it was pretty cool. I was really liking it. So yeah, it's fun. I recommend it. Short game, but that's fine by me.
What are you playing on, Steam or Nintendo?
Steam.
Okay, yeah, it looks great. I got to get this. I just wish it was on PlayStation. Okay, next thing for me is Headbangers Rhythm Royale, which, how did I not have my soundboard ready for this? What the hell am I doing? If you remember from the infamous Nintendo Direct.
Oh, yeah.
It
sounds pretty cool.
And I think it is pretty cool. It's basically a bunch of rhythm games with these pigeons, and it's, I guess, Fall Guys as a rhythm kind of game. I generally like the mini games, although the intro and like time between them set up every time is getting a little slow and annoying. I wish I was just like, there was an accelerated mode. But I cannot believe how polished this game is. Like the menus, the birds themselves, like it's this simple model that you can decorate with like items to make your bird stand out from the rest. And it's like just the simple left stick where the head moves around. It's like all it does is bend. And you, while you're waiting in lobbies, you can do the head bending thing, and you can do it in all these parts of the game. It's really good.
That reminds me of do you remember Super Mario 64 when you could like grab the nose and stuff and just kind of like tilt it around?
Yeah, you just
like that kind of just silly mechanic. That's fun.
But it's weird how like this applies to every aspect of the game when you're not actually like doing a rhythm game, and it's pretty awesome. So I'm super. The menus are slick. Everything about the game is great so far. I can see it. I don't know if I'll play it forever. Like there's quite a few mini games. Some are better than others. But there's just no one playing it. It's like when I play a match, it's out of 30 people, maybe at most I've had 10 people, usually around 3 or 4, and the rest bots. And that's like including people playing on any console. It's on like everything pretty much. So I thought I'd give the game a shout out. Like, I think it's worth playing. I wish more people would play it. It's really good. And I love rhythm games, and Battle Royale lends itself nicely to it, and I think it's really good.
That's kind of the problem with a lot of these genres that are popular right now is you're really taking a chance, and if you don't capture, a big enough audience, then your game is struggling a bit. And it's like Helldivers, like they didn't think that they were going to have that kind of support, and then it just exploded, and now that's all anyone's talking about. But
yeah, there's got to be a lot of internal discussion. I get like when they make this game free to play, because
it's on Game Pass too, isn't it?
Headbangers is?
I think so.
Well, I didn't know that. If it is, check it out. Like if you have,
I don't know if it is. It's 50% off on Steam.
Yeah, it's on sale everywhere, which I'm like, I bought it on sale because I would rather support the developer a bit, but it's like, this is feeling like it's going to be free to play soon because they need people to play it for it to be good. And I know in 2 months, I'm going to be like, oh, I should have just waited. But it kind of sucks because it deserves an audience, I think.
Yeah, and there was like this VR game I was just reading about that's kind of like a Fall Guys-esque VR game. Sky Climb, it's called. But this, I assumed it was going to be free to play. I looked it up. It's not currently, but I wonder if that's almost a strategy now, as you launch as a paid game and then plan to eventually go free to play.
Yeah, I don't know. It's really good though. And then, do you have anything else, Sean? Sorry.
I just had one other thing I was going to mention. This is kind of like, so I got back into Diablo 4 a little bit because that is on Game Pass now. And this is sort of a roundabout way of talking about GeForce Now, which I don't know if you guys have ever dabbled in.
Oh, is this the anti-cheat
Nope.
thing?
No, this is like their kind of cloud platform. But so, okay, Diablo 4 is on Game Pass. So I already had Diablo 4 on Xbox. That's what I bought it on originally. I hadn't played in a while. Then when I saw it was on Game Pass, I was like, oh, I can play on cloud now. I'll play it on my Steam Deck. Sounds like a fun way to play. But then I looked, it's not on xCloud because of that whole EU decision where they had to sell off their cloud thing to Ubisoft. Do you guys remember that with the Activision
No.
acquisition thing? So yeah, so I guess the Activision games can't go on xCloud, which is kind of weird. But then I was reading this thread and everybody's like, "Oh, well you can play it on GeForce Now." And I was like, "What is that?" I thought that was like just to stream from your PC. But I guess they have this thing where it like ties into your accounts for like Steam and Epic and a couple other stores. And you can, if you own the game already, you can stream it with their app. But the thing is, there's different tiers. There's a free tier. You can only play for an hour at a time, which I was like, oh, an hour, that's fine. But the thing that really sucks with the free tier is there's a queue. And I tried it a few times and it worked pretty well. And the queue is only like 5 people. You got to wait for 5 people. I was like, okay, fine. And then I tried like later in the day and it was like 50 people, 80 people. I was like, okay, I think I'm done with GeForce Now. But anyway, I just thought I'd mention it. It's kind of an interesting, alternative if you're looking for something to play games on the go. It does work with Steam Deck through a browser. I don't know. Check it out, I guess.
Now, is it running off your computer? Like, does your computer have to be on, or are you playing it on like their servers that have like high-end versions of the game?
Yeah, it's on their servers. I think depending on what tier you're at, you get like better computers that are running it. I don't know exactly, but yeah.
Interesting. I've not heard of this ever before. Did not know it existed.
Yeah.
Kind of cool.
Sounds pretty cool.
Okay. Next up for me, this is like the weirdest game ever that I'm playing.
Before we go on, they have day passes for GeForce Now. So you pay like $6 and you can play all day instead of getting like a membership.
But like, I mean, at that point, like the monthly thing is like $20 or $30. Day pass is like
14 for priority, 26 for ultimate. I'm not sure exactly all the difference. I guess it's just the rig. Oh, 6-hour session length, 8-hour session length versus 1 hour for free.
Yeah, I
guess the same for the priority day, 6 hours a day.
Yeah, like the day pass to me seems like if you just want to try it out once and really see how it is. But I think if I was gonna actually get into it, I would actually do the main subscription.
Yeah. I guess if you do it more than 3 times a month, you're already there.
Exactly.
Are you gonna get into it?
Probably not. I mean, I ended up just installing it on my PC and streaming via Steam Remote Play, which works fine.
Okay. As I said, I've been playing Uno. There was like a PlayStation Stars reward for playing Uno. It was actually for buying Uno, so I didn't even get the reward. It was on PlayStation Plus, so I downloaded the trial, and so I don't get the coins. But I do love Uno. I mean, I love Crazy 8 Countdown, and I love Crazy 8s, and Uno is a version of that. And the reason why, it's not that I don't like Uno or have anything against Uno, it's that the online games are so bad. It's so slow switching turns. I had one game where 7s and 0s switched hands and it took like an hour to play. I'm like, oh my God, why am I doing this? And I played another game after. I don't know why, but I just had to prove to people I'm the best at Uno and Crazy 8. So I actually was enjoying myself, but it could have been so much better if it was like a little faster and just it just felt really slow, and people like take the full time to make their move, which is only 10 seconds, but it's still long. And just all cluttered with it's published by Ubisoft, and with like custom decks and Far Cry decks and Valhalla decks, and it's just selling stuff through it. I'm like,
Yeah.
I just want just plain Uno, please. That's fast and fun.
Yeah, we worked on Uno at Gameloft Toronto, and there was a lot of monetization in there. Let me tell you.
I mean, it's still fun, but when I did eventually find like some settings by the end of one night where it makes the game go fast. It's mostly because if you can stack, you I don't know if that's what it's called. If you have the same card, you can play it no matter if it's not your turn or not. And then they have to have some timing window to see if people can do that. And then you have to wait for that every time a card's played. And it's like, oh my God, I just want to play Uno. But I still played a lot of it, which is...
You gonna platinum that or what?
There is no platinum trophies.
Wow. Playing a game without a platinum. Amazing.
You get a few trophies though. And then do you have anything else, Sean?
No, that's it.
So another PlayStation Stars reward was to play certain VR games. And one was called Barbaria, which I believe is on PSVR 2 and Oculus Quest. And there was a demo. So I'm like, well, I don't even have to buy it. I'll just try the demo. And it was actually pretty well done and polished. It's just an arena fighter with like sword and shield combat, but it had some polish elements like slow-mo when you go through certain attacks, and like you could cut off a minion's head and then grab the head and hold it up and throw it and do all the stuff. It's kind of fun. And then it also has like this base building element and roguelike elements. So it's like, it's a lot of stuff going on. And like the only issue I had is like, it's throwing new ideas and mechanics at you all the time. And the actual time I was fighting things was not very long. And most of the time I was in menus figuring out how this game works. But now that I know all that stuff, I might go back and play it some more. It was kind of fun. So it's not multiplayer, like we can't play together and do missions, but I can go to your base and you set it up as like a tower defense where you place certain things and build an arena for me to fight in. And it's kind of done in the mode in Asgard's Wrath where you like unpossess a character and you're looking top down at a level and you can build a level like that and then jump into it. It's got some really like solid ideas and implementation of those ideas. Just, I would think internally their discussions are like, how do we get people used to our game loop and how you should approach it without just having menu after menu. And I think the trial's designed to do that. Like you can play it for a while to get that sense of how the game works. But even then, it still isn't clear to me after an hour and a half or 2 hours exactly what I'm doing in the game, which is not great for a VR game.
Yeah, it sounds almost a little bit like that Meet Your Maker game.
I haven't played that one. I know it's got a lot of comparisons gameplay wise to Gorn, but
well, yeah, because that's kind of like a arena battle gladiatorial type thing. But no, Meet Your Maker is not VR, but it was that game where you can kind of build a base and then people have to try to get through all your traps to beat it.
This was this Grasshopper Games or Suda that worked on this?
This is not sure.
I'm thinking of something else. Sorry. This is Behavior Interactive. Okay, nice. I think that's it for me.
Okay.
All right. So next week, who knows? Maybe there'll be a big news drop during the eclipse. We're due for a state of play. We're due for something. Give us some meat on a bone that we can talk about, please. If anyone has suggestions for top 5 lists or tier lists, maybe, where you don't have to know everything about it to do it, that's stuff we're open to as well. So let us know on the Discord, where you can find a link for that. on the YouTube channel, youtube.com/GameJunk. You can leave comments there. And until next time, we'll see you later. Bye-bye.